Hello.
What's up?
You're so loud. Give the blurb on what we're doing.
We're doing an adoption. And it's been going on for 1 million days.
Where do we live right now?
In Liberia.
We don't have to, we're not residents yet. We don't have to pay Liberia taxes yet.
I don't think they just have like a tax rate.
I bet they do. I bet Samir knows. So I'm wearing my Noonday Together shirt. These are $10 right now. They're on sale. And then the saltwater necklace and saltwater stack bracelets. I'm also wearing, if you guys want to click on that Noonday link that's in this video, you can help with Noonday's Give Back to help Uganda young ladies go to college. Less than 3% of Uganda's women actually get to attend a university level college. So they've done really well. They qualified. They've gotten in. They just need the money to go. So Noonday's doing a give back this month. If you've got clothes or shoes or stuffed animals, purses, backpacks, even if they're mismatched shoes, that's not ideal, but it's okay. I just heard her daughter bird. Did you hear?
Not yet.
You can take, if you live in Tennessee, most of our friends are either in Tennessee or Florida. If you live in Tennessee, Allison Sanders is your girl for that. She lives in Mount Juliet. She frequents Hermitage Donaldson a lot too. She's put a space in her garage to collect those, and then Jennifer Tilton at Phill the Box sends a truck to get those clothes. We get 20 cents a pound for that. That's huge for funding our adoption, so it's a big deal. Our friend Paige is doing that in Cape Coral, and Tia and Paul Erming are helping her kind of keep that together. Our house is not rented yet, sadly. We're still having a hard time getting a hold of the homeowners association to get if they'll give us an exception and not make our renters pay that steep extra deposit. They're difficult to get a hold of, so there's that. So we might need to like reach out to Tiffany Allard on our street. I bet she would help us get that done. So this is a funny thing. So first of all, today is Monday. Usually we go to the orphanage on Mondays. We could not go today because the Nissan Armada that we use, nicknamed Savior, was unavailable, and the little red car nicknamed Jet. That's like it's like a Honda Civic size. It's little. But we all five will pile in there if we have to. Both cars were unavailable today, so we're gonna try to go tomorrow at 2. Our driver Emmanuel's already called us. We think it's a go for tomorrow. The Armada is a 2005 model, so it's 19 years old, and it literally needs some type of significant repair once a month at least, because this is an old car. But it's a good car, but it's an old car, so it's like 260,000 miles or more, so it's getting on up there. So that's what we plan to do tomorrow. So those of you that are sending videos for me to show your kids, I'll do that tomorrow. We missed not seeing them today. We had a nice evening though. We went down and sat by the beach at the restaurant, ordered the kids some French fries. I took my knitting. I'm working on a crocheted whale right now. And so that was nice. If you also, just as a side note, Paige and Allison are doing the clothes, but they're also doing this card fundraiser through Paper Pie. It's a card give back. So Paper Pie will donate a percentage of the proceeds to our adoption, and you can buy a box of cards that'll last you the whole year. So like all your greeting card needs, there's blanks in there, there's thank you notes in there, Christmas cards, birthdays, there's all kind, and there's 5 different combos that you can get, but they're $30, and it basically will keep you from standing in Kroger or Walgreens or Publix or wherever you go, where you're like standing in the middle of the like on your way to your event, standing in the middle of the greeting card aisle. That one's a little crude. That one sounds too lovey-dovey. Like, do this. This is not good. And then you're like writing on it in the car. And if you're like me, you're trying to like make the words meaningful, like the whole words of affirmation, love language. I'm like making it meaningful, and then I'm crying because I'm like, this is a big deal. And then it's not really a big deal. So it's just this whole thing. So you can avoid that. You can spend $30, but if you live in Cape Coral, or you live in like the Nashville, Mount Juliet, Hermitage area, Hendersonville-ish, then Paige or Allison, so if you live in Florida, Paige is your contact. So it can all get shipped to her, and then she'll give it to you, or you can do like a porch pickup. Same thing with Allison. So that'll help you on your shipping. But you can do shipping too if you live out of town. So we have a child beckoning. Are you bleeding or having an emergency?
What?
Are you having an emergency?
I'm missing a dragon.
That's not an emergency. You can get in a few minutes.
I'll let you know.
Go.
The girl, hey, I'll let you know. You can come look for it in just a sec. The girls have made these paper dragons. I don't see one. I would show it to you guys if we could see it. It's probably over there on the couch on the floor. So they take like Scotch tape, and actually instead of Scotch tape, I got clear packing tape for them. And they it's almost like laminating them. They make these paper dragons. I'll show them to you tomorrow. We used to make paper dolls when I was little. My girls are making dragons. They're reading like The Wings of Fire. They've done the How to Train Your Dragon stuff. But they're kind of cute, but they look kind of like trash at first. But then when you look close, it's like, oh, there's a wing and a tail. So I'll show you. I'll have a dragon thing tomorrow. So this is funny. So like yesterday, Jeremy looks at me. He's holding his phone. He's trying to text somebody back. And he's really gotten a little self-conscious about his spelling because he has not great spelling at all. Like I used to win spelling bees. I love spelling, and I don't like it when things are misspelled, especially my name. So
Rachel.
Yeah. People misspell my name all the time. It's okay. I mean, like some people, if they misspell my name, I don't care. But most of the time, I prefer. There's nothing more personal than a name. I prefer it to be spelled right. It's okay. I'm not gonna get mad. There's a lot of variations. But he looks at me and he goes, "Hey, how do you spell heirloom?" And I looked at him and I said, "H." He goes, "H." Like this was like this idea from outer space. H. Like he was way off. He was trying to spell heirloom with like an A, or I don't know what other variations you're trying to come up with.
I mean, it makes sense now. It's like
heirloom.
Like
it's just so funny.
The heir apparent.
As soon as I was like H-E, he's like H. You got to be kidding me.
But I was having like a brain block for some reason. I was like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. An H?
Yeah.
You might as well have said Z. It would have made more sense.
Heirloom, like heir to the throne.
Yeah.
And he was like,
Or your family heirs.
Heirs, yeah. H. It was so funny. That kind of stuff happens a lot. So we have good news. I think it's good news. So we had emailed our adoption agency and tried to give some ideas or asked for, what their fundraising plan is. There is going to be I sent out a post on Facebook that has basically everything summed up. They have one, not mine, but they have one ready to go that's going to come out this week to the entire database of the Small World Adoptions entire database to ask for help with this ministry. We have been asking for that. We think that would be important. We've mentioned that a couple times because of the legal fees. So I think that's going to be a big boost. I've also mentioned they could do Phill the Box textile drive. So if you go to church with Jimbo or Christian Graham that works at their office, if you go to church with these guys, and you want to do a textile drive, Allison Sanders is doing it for me, and Paige Navarro is doing it for me in 2 different towns, and I get 20 cents a pound. It just goes into our adoption account. So it's literally keeping us afloat. It's helping us pay for, because we have to use our money, our regular money, for cost of living stuff at home. So like stuff here, we still have to pay for. So we have a pretty big bill coming up here at the Tropicana for, it'll be $2,700 to pay between now and June 30th. So that'll pay for our basically room and board and one breakfast a day, which only one of my kids eats. My oldest, because she'll eat anything. She's pretty flexible.
And we eat it. Yeah.
But my other 2 kids are like, one of them has a Nutella sandwich every morning, and the other one has like Frosted Flakes, I think.
Oh man,
it's hard.
It is.
But so $2,700. So thank you. There was an anonymous donation. We got on Adopt Together, and then my friend Audrey gave me some money too. We got $500 over the weekend. So thank you guys for that. That came in after we're still making Desperate Pleas. I feel a little less stressed when I got that email today from our agency director stating that he was going to send out a mass email to the Small World database later this week to ask for help, because I know that they've been in business since I was a baby. I'm 44, so they've been in business since the early 80s, and I know that they have a foundation of support in Tennessee and globally that would help, and that it has meaningful adoption connections. So I think that when he replied and said, yes, we're doing, like when I sent him this letter that I had written and was like, hey, what are your thoughts about doing that for the whole, he'd already had it ready to go. And we mentioned it before. My friend Anna had mentioned it to him as well as an idea. That, that's hopefully what we're going to do. And we did hear from the lawyer today that's representing our agency and country that we did his retainer. We paid his retainer to keep him going, keep him moving forward. And hopefully this fundraiser, hopefully the email they send out will do well. And then hopefully they'll get some other fundraisers going. Like maybe they can do their own textile drive. So if you're in Jimbo's Sunday school class, this is your homework. So
Yeah, like sitting
I know.
around, I get up every day and I'm like, who can I get information out of? Okay.
Well, and I was gonna say, I know my friend Lindsay. My friend Lindsay is actually collecting clothes in Hendersonville for us, and she's gonna take it to Allison. So if you live in Hendersonville, Lindsay Crawford Clydesdale is your contact there. But I know for sure that Lindsay's sister is in Sunday school class with Jimbo Savely. So your Sunday school class or whatever it is you guys do at church together, your connection, you teach Sunday school or go whatever you're doing there, you guys need to get some clothes together and do a fundraiser for Small World, because some people don't have like $1,000 or even $20 to give, but you have in your closet, in your house, you have linens you don't need, you have shoes that are worn out that you don't want anymore, all that kind of stuff that you don't want that you take to Goodwill anyway. Don't take it to Goodwill. Give it to Rachel's people.
Yeah.
But that would be a huge, and that's one of those things that we started doing it for the Godfrey family back in Tennessee. They live in Hohenwald, Tennessee, close to Centerville, Tennessee. And we did it for their adoption as like, just like we were doing it for ours. And it was hard for me to convince Sela to do it. I was like, you really should do this. And she's like, I don't know. People here, you know, maybe they don't have any extra stuff. And I'm like, just do it for me. Let's just, what are you going to lose? You know, just try it. Well, it really took off. She got several $1,000s for her adoption, and then started doing it separately for the orphanage here that she supports, the Hope of Blessing International, the Hobie orphanage here that she supports. And she's still continuing to use that textile, the Phill the Box textile outlet to feed the children here in Liberia that we've met. They're wonderful kids that Nelson is raising. They are not eligible for adoption. They are just orphans that are being cared for by Sela and Nelson and Pauline, Nelson's wife. And then there's two other adults that live with them in their basically a compound. So anyways, the Phill the Box textile thing is a lucrative thing that's free that you can do to get these adoptions going. And I think there's 6 families other than us that are doing it right now. Some of them have changed over from Small World to New Horizons. It's another agency here in Liberia that was not suspended, although everybody's suspended now, but they're not specifically suspended. They're a good agency, good organization as well. So, sorry. So you're starting to think,
well,
who can you contact?
Every day I wake up. It's okay.
Oh, Alfonso, the lawyer. I was what saying. Sorry.
Well, that's kind of like what started. Like I wake up and I stare at my WhatsApp and I'm like, okay, who have I not harassed today?
Who have I not checked in with?
I haven't checked in with Alfonso. Albert's already checked in with me. That's good. Check off the list.
Albert checked in with me, but I think it was because he hadn't gotten a hold of Jeremy yet.
Nelson messaged me, and I'm like, well, he's like getting me a little nervous, thinking like the minister proper, the MOG, is out of the country. Turned out she's here, which is good. So they're supposed to have the big meeting with the adoption service providers this week.
That's this week. We can't get a date, but that's this week.
And then I'm like, I hear from
this week is a fluid statement in Liberia.
I hear from Harrison at the airport that helped you with your luggage. He checked in to see how we were doing today.
Oh, Harrison!
And then it's like I just hear from all these random folks.
Harrison's like Rachel's Secret Service agent. People, man, all of his employees that are friends with him at the airport were like giving him all kinds of heck for getting me through the airport kind of VIP status. But it was after dark. It was late. Emmanuel was out in the parking lot. I was traveling alone, and Jeremy had reached out to Harrison and was like, "Hey, dude, I know you're really nice to us when we came to Liberia." He is like he's in charge of like fire and safety, so he's kind of like security there, but kind of emergency personnel. So a lot of times he's just kind of there supervising. So he makes friends, he helps people through. He would do it for free. I did give him some money as a thank you,
Right.
But he was helpful. He would be helpful no matter what. He's a helpful guy. He's a good man. But he checked in with you today?
He did.
That's great.
Then I heard from Ahmed over the weekend. He's just checking in to see how our family's
One
doing.
of our secondary drivers,
Just like we just
our
hear
emergency drivers.
Kind of keeps your morale going.
And William
a little
Farr with Beautiful Feet International. So I want to remember to say this too. I know my friend Anna is coming. I know Montana is coming. And I know they usually watch our videos. But Beautiful Feet International is a crisis pregnancy center here in Liberia, and they have a great ministry. They have a lot of good turnout. They educate women on the dangers of abortion, especially here. Abortion is almost a death sentence. Greater than 50% die after getting an abortion here just because of bleeding, infections, and just complications. Like, it's not, I don't think it's legal, but it's not well done. Even if it is legal, it's not safe. And whatever your thoughts are on that. Most of these girls, if not all of them, do desire pregnancy. Even if the guy leaves them, they try. This is a very family-centered, take care of your own, take care of your young, take care of everybody else's young society and culture. So it is not their first choice to abort. So this crisis pregnancy center educates these women on dangers of abortion, dangers of birth, how to care for themselves, how to give birth safely. They have a birthing center they can come to. They also give them a lot of education on how to care for babies, what to do when the baby's hungry, how to maximize your resources. And then they give them free things like baby clothes, bottles, formula, vitamins, just maternity clothes, anything like that to keep them going. And one of the main reasons the women go to the center when they're pregnant is they like the free stuff and they like the education too. But the ministry is their warehouse in the United States is full, and they can bring whatever it is that William Farr wants. He lives 3 hours out. He's coming to Monrovia in a couple weeks. Of course, we don't have anybody new visiting. But we brought him a DVD player so he could educate the mothers more, and then we brought some baby clothes and stuff too. But they need you don't have to go buy I can give you a list of what they need, but you don't have to go buy it. They have it. But shipping would put their organization. They have these clinics all over the world.
You said you've been waiting on that DVD player for what, 3 years?
2 years at least. Yeah. So it's a side ministry. It's a side hustle, like nonprofit in my head. But all you have to do, we have a contact number. You call her. She will mail, as long as you give her about 2 weeks notice, she will mail you whatever it is that's top on his wish list. You just throw it in your luggage. So, and it was an easy thing to slide this DVD player in. But we know them. We found out about that ministry through Janine Burns, who goes to church with us at Gulfside and Cape Coral. So Janine has a big family. It's like her cousin that works for them. But they have, probably, I forget how many countries. I get their email updates now. So yeah, but William Farr checked in with us too, and Tita checks in with us, and we need to have Tita over for dinner.
Well, and I saw one of the managers of the Tropicana. He's been gone for 2 months.
Saeed,
yeah.
Zaid.
I think that's how he said it. And it was almost like a family reunion when I saw him.
He's techie guy.
But he was super smilely,
he's like,
you're still here. And
whoa.
He was almost so glad to see us.
He even said, I'll be back in the summer. And Jeremy I remember Jeremy, because he told us when he left. Because he'd always come over there and fix their internet here. So when we stayed in the Villa 8, that's on the other side of the property. And the internet there is super spotty. And I don't think that they have people stay there long term that care about internet. So he was always coming over there troubleshooting it. And there's a couple guys, but he's a management status here, but he also helps with their IT stuff and their throughput of that. He's very nice, kind of introverted, but he was like, you're still here.
Yeah, he's nice. Just ask him for an update, what's going on. And then it's like, it's just the police here. And he's just he totally gets it.
Everybody gets it.
So.
Would you say they arrested somebody? Well, first Jeremy said he's going to call the news.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Here in Liberia, he's going to make some phone calls.
I'm going to reach out tomorrow through Messenger because we follow some.
He's going to reach out to the news outlet that had the deceased man story.
So that outlet, I was checking their feed today, and they had arrested the previous president's religious advisor.
So former President George Way's religious advisor.
For theft and potential human trafficking and all kinds of other charges he's been arrested for, which is interesting. So.
Well, and they're going after, this is the big push here, and it really, people are really excited about it, and they should have done it in previous pregnancies. Something about the pregnancy. Previous presidencies, previous administrations probably should have done this, but you actually have to have the support, and the United States supports it, the United Nations supports it, and some of the other countries, the UK. They were in a 20-year civil war that basically broke everything here. Even now, you still see buildings that are still destroyed. And the war ended in early 2000s. And it's 2024. So definitely within our lifetime. So the adults that we see here, like our driver Emmanuel, our dear friend Sela, who actually lives in Tennessee but was born in Liberia, Nelson, they were children, ages probably 4 to 10. Well, really 4 to about 18, because it was such a long war. So they remember. Sela has stories in her book from as a 5-year-old child being attacked in the bush where they lived, and her small village, and she had some relatives that were higher ups in the military, but she ran from bullets. They taught the children, and she just watched as kids died next to her. So the generation that's in our age lived through that war. But there are Liberian citizens here that committed war crimes and atrocities, torture, extortion, money, I mean, like all kinds of robbery and theft, and they own tons of property here, and they're continuing to live pretty high on the hog, and no one's done anything about it. And that is one thing, you know, and I don't know, I can't really speak to the politics really in Liberia other than the time that I've been here. And the time that I've been here, there's been a lot of political conflicts internally in Liberia that have caused us problems. And then those same political conflicts say that they fear the U.S. Embassy and that's the source of their problems. And to that I say, that's on you. You got to be comfortable in your own skin, and you got to stand tall at your own laws. And you can't constantly bow to someone at the U.S. Embassy, because someone at the U.S. Embassy is not everyone at the U.S. Embassy. And you may end up, if you continue to support somebody that is doing illegal activities, violating foreign policy, you may end up going down with them eventually. So like, you still need to do what's right. But that being said, these war crimes were never punished, never tried. And these people walk around in Liberia as higher ups with these nice cars. They continue to do what they did before. And they're just terrible people. Or even if they're not, their war crimes were serious. So now they're doing a war crimes trial, basically. They're bringing war crime charges are coming in. And the U.S. is helping, the UN is helping, the UK's. I mean, there's other countries that support it. But if they don't get justice for the atrocities, and then what they did during Liberia's civil war, just Google it, like 20 years of fighting. It's kind of, the way I would describe it now is it's almost like three separate sides were fighting, because there was like this one side that would not really fight back but try to maintain the government, and there's one side that attacked it, but then there's this other side that came in too. So when you have three sides, it makes it a little more complicated. It's kind of hard to know who you're fighting. But there were so many bodies everywhere. It contaminated all the water supplies. You would just see bodies. Some of the books that I've read, the memoirs and biographies about it, would be like you could walk across a bridge, and there were so many bodies that the bodies were pushing up on the bridge over a waterway. Because they didn't even give you time to bury your dead. They would, so the previous administrations I can't really speak to, other than they did not do anything. I do applaud President Boakai for pursuing the war crimes. Because I think that that's something this country needs. They need to see people in power held accountable for corruption. They just do. And that, I think, will take people that are aged, 35 to 50 that were children during the war, that remember the worst parts of it. They want peace. But like, they need to see justice, not just peace, but justice for what was done. I mean, it matters more than anything else. If you're going to be a civilized society that grows into a productive society that comes out of poverty and stands firm, you have to have a justice system that actually punishes people. Most certainly you have to have that. And if they were to capture all of the people that have war crimes, all the money that floats around Liberia that are held by these people that committed these war atrocities, they're well known. Everybody knows. Nobody's convicted them. They were never tried for it. Take their money, seize it, make them pay back to Liberia. Because it's not so much locking them up in prison that's going to be the restitution. It's going to be the restitution. That would feed some of these starving children. That would help with some of these poverty. I mean, these villages that have no infrastructure to protect them from flooding or weather. I mean, it's just, the roads. We could fix the roads. Just the seizure of some of those resources that those people continue to enjoy. I mean, Nelson was telling me how much property they own. All the stuff that they do here, they just still live like nothing happened, which makes me angry. So the news outlet was actually saying that they were arresting one guy for corruption and trafficking and all of that. But
yes, I don't know if they didn't mention really. I don't think so. The war crimes, but
not war crimes. But I'm just glad to see this administration holding people accountable for crimes. But the war crimes thing is something that's definitely something that's in the move and in the making. And one thing too, we've been pretty frustrated that trafficking was even alluded to or mentioned with our adoption agency, because I mean, we were foster parents of kids that have been trafficked. We were, and we know a lot about trafficking from that experience. And then once something like that touches you a little bit, it changes how you look at everything. So just so you guys know, trafficking in the U.S. functions like this, and in most places functions like this. The children never leave their home. Either their parents traffic them, or a close friend of the family that the parents don't know is a trafficker, a neighbor, somebody where the kid spends a lot of time. They sell the kids, but the kids still go home and sleep in their own bed every night. They go to school, they go to church, they're walking among us. That is why when we as previous foster parents and as Americans who know about child trafficking and human exploitation, we just, we just laugh. Like, there's no way. It is so much work to adopt. If I'm going to if you're going to traffic someone, you're going to do it the way that makes the most financial sense. And jumping into the adoption world does not make financial sense for a trafficker. So that's just not how trafficking works. Now, in like East Asia countries where women are being rescued from trafficking, brothels and all that, yeah, they're getting sold by their families. They're going to live in brothels, but they're leaving their families, and their families know where they are. They're not getting kidnapped and taken across the world like on the movie Taken. Maybe that probably happens too, but not like this. You don't need to cross the border to traffic a kid. You certainly don't need to leave America to traffic a kid. So to accuse our agency of any type of trafficking or even allude to the fact that there's promised things or money exchange, anything like that in this is just ludicrous, because first of all, it's not what's happening because it's not the right thing. But second of all, even if it's too hard, it would cost you could go do it the easy way. Go do it the way that people do it in Florida. They just take kids from impoverished areas where either they don't speak the language, they're scared immigrants, they woo them from their families, they traffic them, they send them back home to their families every night. They go to school every day.
You don't take a trafficked child and go through a government agency and then go to court and then go before a judge and then have all these paperwork.
You don't get a visa.
That doesn't happen. That's why I say it's so preposterous.
What's the rate? We used to know the rate of a child to pay for a child trafficking victim. I don't want to be too detailed about it, but a child trafficking victim was like what? Less than $50 a night for some John in the U.S.
And it's not just that though. It's like labor trafficking too, which we see that in the streets here. It's like, well, if you want to look to stop trafficking, do it here.
It's just the most misplaced resources. And when you look at adoptive parents, you're like if I was a trafficker, I would not waste my time in the adoption realm. There's too many obstacles. There's too much red tape. There's too many applications. And it's not that the applications and the red tape and all of that are like filter out just the good people. It's the expense. Yeah. You're not going to spend that kind of money.
There's no financial
You will never,
gain.
And if you think you're going to spend that kind of money and traffic a kid back in the U.S., you'll never recoup it. You just won't. I mean, it's like, not to just be that brutal, I would never traffic a kid. Children are very valuable and they have life and they're individual people, but it's just to have the U.S. Embassy, and I read the memo, to have the U.S. Embassy make a diplomatic note that even suggests such a thing of an adoption service provider and the families that are participating in it, and allude to the fact that we as families may not know what's happening to our kids. We meet the birth parents in court. We sit next to them during the adoption. The birth parents are well aware that we're here. Our birth mother knows we're here. We have no contact with her. We can't have contact with her until after the adoption is done. But then we can have an open adoption with her. It's no secret where these children are going. So it's just pet peeve of mine.
It's legitimate.
Like if traffickers are watching, that's why I wish a news outlet would pick this up. Because if a Liberian news outlet or an American news outlet would pick up our story and just talk about it once or twice and say that all adoptions, both domestic and international, have been suspended in Liberia because the U.S. consular office and the embassy here in Monrovia had a hunch that maybe there was some questionable recruiting going on that needed to be investigated by the trafficking unit in Liberia. They didn't say that we were trafficking kids. They didn't say our agency was doing that, but they said it needed to be investigated by the victims of trafficking unit. I would love for that to be on the news, that's how we got here. I would love that. Because the U.S. Embassy, first of all, it's illegal for them to meddle in foreign affairs of that nature. They can express concerns, but there should not be a suspension. The U.S. Embassy should be advocating on our behalf to lift the suspension, and they have refused. The U.S. State Department, Office of Children's Issues, should be acting on our behalf to lift the suspension, and they have refused. The Ministry of Gender, Children, Families, and Social Protection in Liberia should be advocating to lift the suspension that came out of their office, and they have refused. So you tell me, who's exploiting kids while I sit here and pay thousands of dollars a month to stay near my kids and try to tell their story, because they certainly can't tell it for themselves. You tell me, who's making the most money today?
And they've been in a transitional home for 3 years.
It's insane. And God may have mercy on these people in the end, but it won't hurt me if he doesn't, because it's ridiculous. These kids deserve freedom. And yes, their futures come at a huge cost to adoptive parents and everybody that supports us. And thank you for continuing to support us here. There's times that we think about, okay, we're going to have to go home on this date, or we're going to have to go on that day. And then we get more donations, and we're like, that buys us 2 more weeks. That buys us 3 more days. That buys us 6 more days. That buys us 12 hours. Like, we will stay as long as we possibly can to make this right. Not just for our kids, but for all kids. Every single adoption in Liberia right now, domestic and international, is completely suspended over this.
Yeah, I mean,
For what?
You and I had really hard discussions today about, like, what's our X amount
What's our bottom line?
where we had to leave, and we agreed, and we know where we are. But again, like, the donations keep coming in, everybody keeps helping us.
You keep pushing back, man.
So thank you for helping us fight the good fight, and I appreciate it.
And there's a part of us every single day that's like, we got to get out of here. We got to go to the airport. We're going home today. Because it would be so much more comfortable to just go home and wait at home. But then who would make sure that the lawyer gets his retainer as soon as he needs it, like that day? Who would make sure that the solar panels are going, and that the nannies are paid, and that the food is there, and that everything is there that it needs? Who would be telling the story if we weren't here? Maybe someone else would have come, I don't know. But if we're not here to tell this story, we're not here to ask for help, then no one knows what's happening. No one knows. And this isn't just about one orphanage in a developing country. This is how the U.S. government treats all adoptive parents, international. All of us. And the way that they treat U.S. foster parents is abysmal, but I'm not going to go into that. I put abysmal in a sentence.
Abysmal, that's good.
So we have Wi-Fi now, so this video could be longer. And we can watch our guilty pleasures of Netflix.
I'll get away with murder.
Yeah.
Helps me get some ideas.
Thank you. Thank you for the continued support. If you know any, we're not going to murder anyone. It was so funny though. I will say this. This is really funny. So we're here, and we'll just reenact this. So this is, imagine me back in Florida, and Jeremy and I are driving down the road. And I'm like, we're driving to soccer practice or soccer games or something with the girls. They're putting on their cleats. And it's like a Tuesday. We're driving down the road. We're talking about this situation before we're here. So like, probably like November or so. And
I don't know where you're going.
I'm like, and they're talking about the U.S. Embassy's office and the consulates, and how the consular's office is causing a conflict with the Ministry of Gender, Children, Families. And that's where our case report is. And the embassy's causing problems. And it's really the U.S. Embassy that's causing conflict, raising questions that are unfounded, and creating conflict where conflict does not exist. And I said in the car, I was like, I want to be an ambassador. I think I'd be a good one. I like traveling. I like talking to people. I like resolving conflict. I don't desire conflict, but when it's there, I'm like, let's just all sit down. Let's see where we can work this out. I can sell things, and I can negotiate things, and I'm a bargainer. And I do it in a good spirit. I'm like, I think I could be an ambassador. I think I'd be good at it. And what did you say? As soon as I said that sentence, I think I could be an ambassador. I think I'd be good at it. I want to be an ambassador. I think I'd be good at it. Jeremy immediately says,
I think I could be an assassin. I think I'd be good at it.
Immediately. But he didn't say it with a smile. He said, I want to be an assassin. I think I'd be good at it. And it was like, the kids couldn't hear us because they were doing their own thing. And I was like, I kind of believe you. So I told that story to my friend Sean at work. I was telling Sean about, Sean asked me, like, how's the adoption thing going? I'm like, well, I think I might have to be a U.S. ambassador to get our kids home, but my husband's looking into being an assassin. He's like, I think you guys could make that work. He could do it. He could be like a dark assassin somewhere, and you could be like the front of the ambassador. It could work. It could really work. And it cracked me up.
We're just kidding.
We're not going to be assassins.
We're just kidding, FBI.
And I'm definitely not going to work for
this.
Definitely not going to work for the U.S.
Homeland
government.
Security, if you're watching it, I'm just kidding.
And the U.S. government has gotten completely screwed on taxes from us this year.
Man, they have.
So we haven't made any money
We've been
this
working
year.
like 6 months.
We saved a lot and we've spent a lot, but we haven't made anything.
We haven't spent it here
We
either.
made anything. You should buy a Noon Day t-shirt. That would help. Yeah. Well, it's all gone to the economy in Liberia.
I know.
You know, Samir's gotten a boost. Samir owns the Tropicana. He's gotten a boost.
So,
All right.
is it our fault that we're heading to a recession in America because we left?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
So, guys, I'm gonna tonight. Let's see. Tomorrow, actually, I'm gonna put in clips of Jeremy playing his guitar at the beach, asking for money.
I didn't get anything.
He didn't. It was rainy.
It
He
was.
took his guitar down there, strumming along. I take my knitting. He takes his guitar. We're quite the old couple.
We are.
Is that all you got? Assassin?
That's it.
We're not going to
Ambassador.
assassinate anyone.
I
We
just-
love
I
everyone.
didn't mean
We
that
love
homeland.
Jesus, so we can't assassinate people.
I can't turn your table over though.
You were not. You know what? The only person that was brave to shake up any tables with the emoji was me. You'll get your chance. We'll give you your chance. You'll get a chance to go back.
Okay, peace out.
Bye.
Bye.